Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayana Namaskritya Naram Cha Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudirye Nashtuprayeshu Avadreshu Nityam Bhakta Sevaya Bhagavati Uttam Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistiki. So continuing with the discussion on 87th chapter of Krishna book, Prayers by the Personified Vedas. Long purport by Srila Prabhupada. So trying to go over every word of Prabhupada. It's very straightforward and very hard-hitting purports Prabhupada has given. Undoubtedly, the eternal living entity cannot be annihilated at any point, but the lower species of life exist in a miserable condition, whereas one who is engaged in the devotional service of the Supreme Lord is situated in the pleasurable or Anandamaya status of life. So yesterday we discussed how a living entity evolves from Annamaya, then Pranamaya, then Anmaya, Pranamaya, Manomaya, Gyanmaya, and Vigyanmaya, and then Anandamaya stage. And this is what Prabhupada says, one who is engaged in devotional service is situated in the Anandamaya stage, is always in bliss. The different stages described above are all in relationship with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Although in all circumstances there exists both the Supreme Personality of Godhead and the living entities. The difference is that the Supreme Personality of Godhead always exists in the Anandamaya stage, whereas the subordinate living entities, because of their minute position as a fragmental portions of the Supreme Lord, are prone to fall to other stages of life. So we can never say, I am God, or I have forgotten I am God. We are part and parcel, as Prabhupada said, a minute position as fragmental portions of the Supreme Lord. And we are prone to fall to other stages of life. And slowly, we make, we evolve ourselves, or we purify ourselves to come to the Anandamaya stage. Although in all the stages, both the Supreme Lord and the living entities exist, the Supreme Personality of Godhead is always transcendental to our concept of life, whether we are in bondage or in liberation. Supreme Lord is always transcendental. He is Achyuta, he never falls down. Always in trance. Ishvara Parama Krishna, Satchidananda Vigraha. He's a Param, he is Param Ishvara. He's not bound by our concept of life. The whole cosmic manifestation becomes possible by the grace of the Supreme Lord. It exists by the grace of the Supreme Lord, and when annihilated, it merges into the existence of the Supreme Lord. As such, the Supreme Lord is a supreme existence, the cause of all causes. Therefore, the conclusion is that without development of Krishna consciousness, one's life is simply a waste of time. So simply a waste of time means even if we work so hard and get lots of degrees in education or making millions and millions of dollars or have so much of property in our name that we have worked hard, that I have, I don't know, 1,000 acres of land, maybe that's gone too far, maybe 100 acres of land in my name. So what? In the end, what? We're going to leave everything here, cannot take anything with us. And next life, we have to start from scratch. Simply a waste of time. It doesn't mean we don't do our duties. It doesn't mean we don't take care of our needs. Taking care of need is one thing, but taking care of greed, that can never be fulfilled. For those who are very materialistic and cannot understand the situation of the spiritual world, the abode of Krishna, great sages have recommended the yogic process whereby one gradually rises from meditation on the abdomen, which is called the Muladhar or Manipurak meditation. Muladhar and Manipurak are technical terms which refer to the intestines within the abdomen. Grossly materialistic persons think that economic development is of foremost importance because they are under the impression that a living entity exists only by eating. So living entity exists only by eating. This is what they think. Materialistic people, but it's not true. So that is when they get into this meditation and the meditation on this Muladhara chakra and bringing the pranic energy up by meditation, they come to understand. So eating, so pranamaya, they come from pranamaya to from annamaya to pranamaya. Such grossly materialistic persons forget that although we may eat as much as we like, if the food is not digested, it produces the troubles of indigestion and acidity. Therefore, eating is not in itself the cause of the vital energy of life. For digestion of eatables, we have to take shelter of another superior energy, which is mentioned in Bhagavad Gita as Vaishvanar. Vaishvanar. That is a fire of digestion. Lord Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita that he helps the digestion in the form of Vaishvanar. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is all pervasive. Therefore, his presence in the stomach as Vaishvanar is not extraordinary. He says in Gita, I am the fire of digestion in the belly of every living entity. So even if we eat wonderful food, wonderful in terms of materialistic people's, according to their standards, but if we cannot digest it, what's the use? And that fire of digestion, Krishna says, I am. So ultimately, we have to come to this understanding. Everything comes from Krishna. Krishna is actually present everywhere. The Vaishnava therefore marks his body with temples of Vishnu. He first marks a Tilak temple on the abdomen, then on the chest, then between the collarbones, then on the forehead, and gradually he marks the top of the head, the Brahm Randra. Of course, we first mark on the forehead, then the abdomen, chest, and up. The 13 temples of Tilak marked on the body of a Vaishnava are known as follows. On the forehead is the temple of Lord Keshav. On the belly is a temple of Lord Narayan. On the chest is a temple of Lord Madhav. And on the throat, between the two collarbones, is a temple of Lord Govinda. On the right side of the waist is a temple of Lord Vishnu. On the right arm, the temple of Lord Madhusudan. And on the right side of the collarbone, the temple of Lord Trivikram. Similarly, on the left side of the waist is temple of Lord Vamandev. Left arm, the temple of Sridhar. On the left side of the collarbone, the temple of Rishikesh. On the upper back, the temple called Padmanabh. And on the lower back, the temple called Damodar. And on the top of the head is a temple called Vasudev. This is the process of meditation on the Lord's situation in the different parts of the body. But for those who are not Vaishnavas, great sages recommend meditation on the bodily concept of life. Meditation on the intestines, on the heart, on the throat, on the eyebrows, on the forehead, and then on the top of the head. Some of the sages in the disciplic succession from the great sect, Aruna, meditate on the heart because the super soul stays within the heart along with the living entity. This is confirmed in Bhagavad Gita, 15th chapter, where the Lord says, Sarvasya chaham hriddi sannivishto. I'm situated in everyone's heart. So Prabhupada told us about different temples of the Lord in our body, and when we mark our tilak, we are basically worshipping the Lord. Different forms of the Lord at different organs or different parts of our body, upper body, and also at that when we mark all these places with tilak, with gopi chandan, then we are also praying to the Lord for the protection. And those who are in the process of meditation, they go from intestine to above, to the heart, to the above, and they want to take their kundalini, prana through by doing the kundalini yoga, or they want to elevate the kundalini. And the idea is when they leave the body, they leave the prana from the top of the head, which is called Brahmarandhra, and they take the prana to wherever destination they want to. But that meditation is not practical in Kali Yuga. It's not at all easy meditation, and it's not at all practical. So in Kali Yuga, the only process that is recommended is chanting of the holy names. So if we do that, then we can get plenty of mercy of Krishna, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Nityananda Prabhu, and all the acharyas. And then the soul can attain the highest destination also. As part of devotional service, Vaishnavas protect the body for the service of the Lord. But those who are gross materialists accept the body as a self. They worship the body by the yogic process of meditation on the different bodily parts, such as Manipurak, Dahar, and Hridaya, gradually rising to Brahmarandhra on the top of the head. The first-class yogi who has attained perfection in the practice of the yoga system ultimately passes through the Brahmarandhra to any one of the planets in either the material or spiritual worlds. So when Prabhupada said the first-class yogi who has attained perfection means the soul. Of course, we are not this body, we are soul. So that soul who was evolved in yoga system, he can go to any of the planets. How a yogi can transfer himself to another planet is vividly described in the second canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. So it's all possible. It's not something very magical or mystical. Everything, the whole process is given. In Bhagavatam and in other Patanjali sutras, it's given in more details. Or maybe other scriptures. In this regard, Shukdev Goswami has recommended that the beginners worship the Virat Purusha, the gigantic universal form of the Lord. One who cannot believe that the Lord can be worshipped with equal success in the deity or archa form, or who cannot concentrate on this form, is advised to worship the universal form of the Lord. The lower part of the universe is considered the feet and legs of the Lord's universal form. The middle part of the Lord and the topmost planetary system, the middle part of the universe is considered the navel or abdomen of the Lord. The upper planetary systems such as Janaloka and Maharloka are the heart of the Lord. And the topmost planetary system, Brahmaloka, is considered the top of the Lord's head. There are different processes recommended by great sages according to the position of the worshipper. But the ultimate aim of all meditational yogic processes is to go back home, back to Godhead. So this is the ultimate aim. As stated in the Bhagavad Gita, anyone who reaches the highest planet, the abode of Krishna, or even the Vaikuntha planets, never has to come down again to this miserable material condition of life. So the ultimate aim is this, But the problem is, if we don't know the ultimate aim, then the other yoga systems, they cannot take us there. Bhakti yoga, the why Bhakti yoga is considered the best, even if we don't know the aim. We are performing our bhakti. Krishna knows where to take it. Because Bhakti yoga is a method of mercy, grace, grace of the Lord. By the grace of the Lord, He can take us wherever He wants. So that's why Krishna is also known as Bhakta Vatsal. Means He loves His devotees. Deen Vatsal. He's never called Jnani Vatsal or Karmi Vatsal or Yogi Vatsal. It's a huge difference. And when we are trying to make progress in the other yogic systems on our own, we can get distracted. Just like Hatha yogis, when they try to meditate, and then Krishna can give them Ashtasiddhis, 1, 2, or maybe more siddhis. They're all material side effects of Hatha yoga. And one can get distracted once he gets those siddhis. They're very, very powerful. So one can get distracted in the sense one wants to enjoy the power of those siddhis. It can happen. Maybe most of the time it happens. But in Bhakti Yoga, although if a devotee wants, he can get those siddhis also. Krishna doesn't give them easily. But to talk about siddhis, yasyam anugranami harishye tadhanam shunay. For devotees, he can even take away all sorts of support that a devotee has to make him surrender completely at the lotus feet of Krishna. So this yoga, Bhakti yoga, that's why it's considered most sublime, most potent, and the results are guaranteed because results are in the hands of Krishna. The Vedic recommendation, therefore, is that one make the lotus feet of Vishnu the target of all one's efforts. Tad Vishnu Paramam Padam. The Vishnu planets or Vishnu Loka are situated above all the material planets. These Vaikuntha planets are known as Sanatan Dham. And they are eternal. They're never annihilated, not even by the annihilation of this material world. The conclusion is that if a human being does not fulfill the mission of his life by worshipping the Supreme Lord and does not go back home, back to Godhead, it is to be understood that he is breathing just like a blacksmith's bellows, living just like a tree, eating just like a camel, and having sex just like the dogs and owls. Thus, he has been frustrated in fulfilling the specific purpose of human life. Thus, he has been frustrated. We might think, the so-and-so person, he has made so much of money and he has achieved so this and that position. Just like today, we got a new chief minister of Maharashtra. Oh, he has achieved such a great position. He was a auto driver, and now he's a chief minister of Maharashtra. Very, very big position. He has found the goal of life, the purpose. He's fulfilled. He got the goal. No. Wonderful achievement. And nothing against him. But this is not the purpose of human life. And if it gets him distracted more and, and if he commits some things that he's not supposed to, then there's a bigger punishment awaiting him. Not just him, any leader in any position. But nobody's ready to understand this. The next prayer of the personified Vedas to the Lord concerns his entering into different species of life. It is stated in the Bhagavad Gita, 14th chapter, that in every species and forms of life, the spiritual part and parcel of the Supreme Lord is present. The Lord himself claims in the Gita that he is a seed-giving father of all forms and species, who therefore must be considered sons of the Lord. The entrance of the Supreme Lord into everyone's heart as Paramatma sometimes bewilders the impersonalists into equating the living entities with the Supreme Lord. They think that both the Supreme Lord and the individual soul enter into the various bodies. So where is the distinction? Why should individual souls worship the Paramatma or Super Soul? According to them, the Super Soul and the individual soul are on the same level. They are one without any difference between them. But there is a difference. There is a difference, however, between the Super Soul and the individual soul, and this is explained in the Bhagavad Gita, 15th chapter, where the Lord says that although he is situated within the living entity in the same body, he is superior. He is superior. He is dictating or giving intelligence to the individual soul from within. So the dictation or intelligence cannot come from somebody who's inferior. He is definitely superior. It's clearly stated in the Gita that the Lord gives intelligence to the individual soul, and that both memory and forgetfulness are due to the influence of the Super Soul. But that influence of the Super Soul is based on the desire of the living entity. He himself is not going to decide whether we should remember something or we should forget something. Of course, some things are by nature, by law, just like we're not supposed to remember what we did in our previous lives. Sometimes we can, but in general, we don't. No one can act independently of the sanction of the Super Soul. The individual soul acts according to his past karma, reminded by the Lord. The nature of the individual soul is forgetfulness, but the presence of the Lord within the heart reminds him of what he wanted to do in his past life. So, presence of the Lord within the heart reminds. So, Paramatma knows everything. What we wanted in the previous life, what our desires were, not just in the previous life, in all the previous lives, in all body forms. And what our desires were, what did we do, what karma we have done, everything. The intelligence of the individual soul is exhibited like a fire in wood. Although fire is always fire, it is exhibited in a size proportionate to the size of the wood. The intelligence of the individual soul is exhibited like fire in the wood. So, intelligence is there. Everybody has that subtle body of mind, intelligence, free, false ego. But how much intelligence we can use in a particular body, that depends. And what kind? I mean, just like some people are very good at computers. Some people are very good at musical instruments. So that intelligence for that soul in that body is decided by his previous karmas, so he can carry on with that intelligence. Others are not. Others are good at something else. Everybody has some skill or something, but not that everybody is good at everything. Because, as it is said here, intelligence is exhibited according to software. And here it's compared to fire. Fire is exhibited in a size proportionate to the size of the wood. Just like fire in a matchstick is also fire, fire in a big log of wood is also fire. Similarly, although the individual soul is qualitatively one with the Supreme Lord, he exhibits himself according to the limitations of his present body. Because we are in this material conditioned body, means I think I am this body. So I work or exhibit my limitations or exhibit my qualities according to this body. But the Supreme Lord, the Super Soul, is unlimited. He is said to be Ek Rasa. Ek means one and Rasa means mellow. The transcendental position of the Supreme Lord is that of eternity, bliss, and full knowledge. His position of Ek Rasa does not change. His position of Ek Rasa does not change in the slightest when he becomes a witness and advisor to the individual soul in each individual body. He remains the same. Avyaya and all those wonderful terms for the Supreme Lord. But we, according to the body, and if in a human form, but now in a human form, according to our karmas, according to our desires, we get to use to a certain extent our capabilities or capacities. And this is why somebody does something wonderful and we, see, it's wonderful, he has done so much. Well, yeah, good. But next life, we can also get this chance. This is all temporary. It's not permanent here. Somebody is a big scientist, Einstein, and then he did wonderful activities, discoveries, and this and that. His next life, I don't know. What did he do in the next life? Or the life after? Or the life after? I don't know. Or in the previous life, prior to Einstein's life, what that soul did. So it's all temporary. And even in anybody's lifetime, even in the time does not remain in anybody's lifetime. So we go up, we go down. Whenever good time is there, we do things, we might make money, or we might do some wonderful things, some invention, something, and this or that. And then everybody will give, yeah, he's so wonderful, he has worked hard, and all sorts of accolades will be given to him. But when the time is bad, he's good for nothing. Just discard him, don't associate with him, don't talk to him, don't look at him, don't get motivated by him, go look for some better motivation and inspiration. And this. It's all temporary. It's all relative. Real motivation, real inspiration is in Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam. This is absolute. Always remain this way. And this is the beauty of Srila Prabhupada, that he has given us wonderful instructions through these books. So we don't need to read anything else. And in fact, I was speaking with Ashok Prabhuji today. This 87th chapter of Krsna book, this is enough. This is enough that we need to know. There's nothing more we need to know. If you just read it, it's a long chapter, very long chapter, and Prabhupada has really spent his heart out in this chapter. And this is good enough for us to make progress from. And okay, so yeah, I wanted to speak on Rath Yatra festival, but since this chapter, I don't want to leave it in the middle, and that's why I skipped that. But if you want, tomorrow we can have a class on Rath Yatra. So please let me know. Okay, thank you, Mata. Chalo, okay, so we'll stop here. See anybody has any questions or comments?